Every wealth level explained, from broke to billionaire. Imagine two people standing on opposite sides of a city. One is worried about how they're going to pay next month's rent. The other owns skyscrapers, businesses, and investments worth billions of dollars. At first glance, it seems like the only difference between them is money. But the reality is much deeper. As people move up the wealth ladder, their mindset changes. Their habits change. Their opportunities change. And perhaps most importantly, the way they think about money changes completely. Today, we're going to travel through every major wealth level, from someone struggling to survive all the way to the billionaire class. And along the way, you'll discover that each level comes with its own advantages, challenges, and lessons. Let's begin at the very bottom. The first level is survival. This is where money isn't about building wealth. It's about making it through the week. Imagine waking up every morning knowing that one unexpected expense could throw your entire life into chaos. Your car breaks down, your phone stops working, a medical bill arrives. Suddenly, your entire budget falls apart. People at this level often work incredibly hard, sometimes multiple jobs, sometimes long hours. Yet despite all that effort, there never seems to be enough money left over. Every paycheck arrives with a destination already planned: rent, food, transportation, utilities. There is little room for mistakes, and there is even less room for long-term planning. When you're fighting to survive today, it's difficult to think about retirement 30 years from now. The goal at this stage isn't becoming rich. The goal is creating stability. And that brings us to the second level: financial stability. This is the stage where life finally becomes a little less stressful. Bills are paid on time. There is money in the bank. An emergency doesn't immediately become a disaster. For the first time, there is breathing room. People at this level often begin building emergency funds. They start learning about budgeting. They become more intentional with their spending. This stage may not seem exciting, but it is one of the most important stages of all. Because stability creates options. Instead of constantly reacting to problems, people can start making plans. And planning is where wealth begins. Next comes the comfortable stage. This is where many people spend most of their lives. The bills are manageable. The house is decent. The car is reliable. Vacations happen occasionally. Life feels good. And honestly, there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, many people would be perfectly happy staying here forever. But comfort comes with a hidden danger. A danger that traps millions of people. Lifestyle inflation. When income rises, spending often rises with it. A bigger house, a newer car, more expensive restaurants, more subscriptions, more luxury. Suddenly, the person earning twice as much money isn't building wealth any faster than before. They're simply spending more. The challenge at this level isn't making more money. It's resisting the urge to spend every dollar you earn. Those who master that lesson often move to the next level: affluence. This is where things start looking impressive from the outside. These are the doctors, the lawyers, the successful entrepreneurs, the executives, the professionals earning far above average incomes. They live in beautiful homes, drive luxury vehicles, take expensive vacations, and often have investment accounts worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. To the average person, they look rich, and in many ways, they are. But there is something fascinating about this level. Many affluent people still depend heavily on their income. If they stopped working tomorrow, their lifestyle could become difficult to maintain. The expensive house still needs payments. The luxury car still costs money. The lifestyle still requires cash flow. This is why some people who appear wealthy are actually less secure than they seem. They have high income, but not necessarily financial freedom. And that's where the next level changes everything. Financial independence. This is the point where money starts working harder than the person. Instead of relying entirely on a job, income begins flowing from assets, stocks, businesses, rental properties, investments. The individual no longer needs to trade every hour for a dollar. Their assets are generating income on their behalf. This changes everything. Work becomes optional, not because they don't enjoy working, but because they don't have to. Imagine waking up tomorrow knowing that your bills are covered whether you go to work or not. That is the power of financial independence. For many people, this is the true definition of wealth. Not private jets, not designer clothes. Freedom. The freedom to choose. The freedom to spend time with family. The freedom to pursue passion projects. The freedom to say no. But the journey doesn't stop there. The next level is multimillionaire. This is where wealth begins to compound in powerful ways. At this stage, investment returns alone can generate enormous amounts of income. A person with $10 million invested may earn more from their investments than many people earn from working full-time. The focus shifts. The questions change. It's no longer, how do I make more money? It's, how do I preserve and grow what I've built? Risk management becomes critical. Diversification becomes important. Protecting wealth becomes just as important as creating it. The stakes become larger, and so do the opportunities. Then comes the ultra-wealthy level, hundreds of millions of dollars. At this point, wealth becomes difficult for most people to even imagine. These individuals aren't simply buying assets. They're acquiring companies, funding major developments, investing in industries. Their decisions can affect entire communities, thousands of jobs, millions of customers. Money at this level becomes a tool of influence. It's no longer just about personal comfort. It's about ownership, control, impact. And finally, we arrive at the billionaire class, the level that captures the world's attention. Most people imagine billionaires swimming in vaults filled with cash. But that's not how it works. Most billionaires keep the majority of their wealth tied to businesses, stocks, and ownership stakes. Their wealth grows because they own things that grow. Companies, technology, infrastructure, brands, entire systems. A billionaire is not simply a millionaire with a few extra zeros. They're operating on a completely different scale. Their decisions can influence markets, shape industries, and sometimes even affect global events. But despite all these differences, there is one thing every wealth level has in common. No level is perfect. The person struggling financially wants stability. The stable person wants comfort. The comfortable person wants freedom. The wealthy person wants time. The billionaire often wants impact. Every level solves problems. Every level creates new ones. That's why wealth alone isn't the answer to everything. Because the destination keeps moving. The person who dreams of $1 million often discovers that reaching 1 million creates entirely new goals. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's simply human nature. So where are you on this ladder? Maybe you're still building stability. Maybe you're working toward financial independence. Maybe you're already investing and growing your assets. Wherever you are, remember this. The goal isn't to jump straight to the top. The goal is to reach the next level. One skill at a time, one investment at a time, one smart decision at a time. Because every wealthy person in history started somewhere. And most of them started much closer to the bottom than people would ever guess. The wealth ladder isn't climbed in giant leaps. It's climbed one step at a time. And the next step is always the most important one.